Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another One Punch Man episode review. Today we're doing episode 12. I guess there's going to be more episodes than I originally thought. I thought there was only going to be around maybe like 12 episodes. I felt like they were going to do what they did for season 1, but then I realized after watching this episode, once it started really, I was like, that doesn't make any sense because if stuff happens like the way that they're going to happen in an episode potentially, then there's no reason for them to end it off with this episode and leave it for a cliffhanger and save it for another season. Whenever they're gonna inevitably do another season, that just wouldn't really work out too well. And before I continue on, really quick, I just want to mention before we continue, like I just said, duh. If you hear any thundering or if it's raining outside, it's because it's raining outside and I can't do anything about it. So if you hear thundering, whatever, just just ignore it. Try to just focus on what I'm trying to say about the episode. And surprisingly enough, there was a lot about Garo in the episode and what he had to go through before when he was much younger, when he was much smaller, and when he was much weaker. And his reasonings for behind why he started going after, Class S heroes, the top rankings of the Hero Association. Why he decided to go by the name of the Hero Hunter, why he trained with Silverfang, stuff like that, and basically just his whole entire childhood. We'll get into Silverfang and Bang and Bomb in the episode because we get to see a lot of really cool stuff from them in the episode, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I want to explain a little bit of what happened to Garo in his past when he was younger, and it actually put more of an insight into something that I didn't really think about. For some reason, I just didn't really think about it for his character. I thought he was just a guy who wanted to be a monster just for the sake of being a monster because he really liked monsters growing up as a kid, right? Because he would always pay attention to the monsters instead of the heroes. And yeah, he certainly did that, but during his school life and when he was younger, he was whenever how kids in the real world like to play superheroes and they go in their backyard, they play superheroes and villains and stuff like that. I did that a lot as a kid myself. Basically, what happened with Garo was when he was younger, he was a loner type kid. He kept to himself. He didn't really have too many friends. He didn't really talk to anybody. Meanwhile, there was another kid, Tatsu, who was much more popular than him, and whenever him and the other kids would play heroes, Garo and the other kids, of course, Tatsu would be the hero and Garo would be the villain. And Garo kept getting attacked day after day. He would, be seen as a monster for whatever reason because he was the unpopular kid, and this other popular kid Tatsu was more popular than he was. So whenever they would play monsters and heroes, Garo was always made to be out to be the villain, and the teachers never really did anything about it, and they always just assumed that he started something or whatever he's saying is wrong. So, and he didn't really like being, evil either. That's the thing about him, is that Garo, yeah, he's, attacking these high-ranking, heroes in the Hero Association, but he's not killing anybody. He's not really killing anybody like the Monster Association is. He's being seen as a monster. He's being, known as the Hero Hunter, but he's not killing anybody. He's just severely damaging their body and their ego. And that's basically just what he's doing this entire time. So as we're getting more of a glimpse into Garo's character and his past when he was much younger, the whole time, his life is flashing. His whole life is flashing before his very eyes because Bang is kicking the shit out of him. We've never seen Bang, go this ruthless in a fight because of course we know that Silverfang is a martial artist, but we never really seen him do anything. To my knowledge, from what I can remember, we haven't really seen anything crazy from him, and of course we would probably expect that because he is super high in the Hero Association with Class S, and he trained Garo, and Garo's absolutely ridiculous as well. But we never really seen anything of what he was actually capable of. And of course, in this situation, in this scenario, he is taking advantage of the fact that Garo is significantly weakened. He doesn't really have much, stamina, seemingly enough. He's severely weakened. He can't really, defend himself properly. although he sticks in there for a little bit, and actually Bomb actually points out the fact that if he was like 60 years younger, he probably would have actually he would have never actually have been able to get back up. So Garo is trying to fight off his life is flashing before his eyes, and then he seemingly gets a burst of energy and he's ready to fight. But then the centipede monster that shows up, and it basically becomes the rest of the episode is basically the bird creature. I forgot his name, but the bird monster guy. Basically the second in command, we'll call him, for the Monster Association for Orochi. He picks up Garo and they start leaving, and they're trying to go back to where the big bad boss guy is. Whilst Genos, because Genos is still there, of course, Bang and Bomb, they have to deal with this giant centipede monster. Bang and Bomb do a super cool combination attack. It looked absolutely epic. I have really no words to say how freaking awesome it looked. It just looked insane, and it really surprised me because I didn't think they were gonna be able to pull off something like that on such a large scale monster, because the other monster that took Garo was actually pointing out the flaws with Genos and Silverfang, and it's the fact that Silverfang has a lot of advantages to him, but one of his biggest disadvantages is the fact that he doesn't really have anything that's going to be able to affect anything that isn't the size of of himself, something that he could handle. Something like this giant centipede, he can't really do anything about it because it's such a huge monster, right? So Bang and Bomb, they do this combination attack. It looked absolutely epic. It looked absolutely freaking awesome. But it doesn't do anything, because what happened is that the centipede, it molted its skin, or its armor, or whatever you want to call it. And it got new skin, kind of like how a snake does. How snakes molt their previous skin. That's what basically happened with the centipede. And then Genos starts wailing on this centipede monster. He's throwing everything that he can at him. There's one point of the fight where he actually gets stabbed in half, and you think that's it. There's nothing that Genos is going to be able to do. And then Genos then reattaches his upper body with his lower body, and that looked freaking awesome because I didn't think he could actually do that. I was like, yeah, that makes sense for him to be able to do that with his arms and his legs. But then he does that with his whole body, his torso and his legs, and it looked freaking awesome. I was gonna say it subverted my expectations. I stuttered there. I'm so embarrassed. I wasn't expecting him to do that. I was gonna say it subverted my expectations, but I wasn't really, I wasn't having expectations of that happening at all. I just didn't really think about the potential ability of him being able to do that. Genos does another attack. He dive kicks the shit out of the centipede's teeth, and he goes inside of the centipede's body. I don't really remember the name for the centipede. I'm just calling it what it is. And then Genos is inside. It's about to get melted by the what's the word I'm looking for? It's about to get melted by basically being inside of it. And then Genos does an attack called the Ultra Spiral Incineration Cannon attack, and it seemingly does a lot of damage. And you think it's actually going to be able to, to kill it, because it was internal damage instead of external. But it doesn't do anything, of course. And then Genos is just, he's defeated. He's completely defeated. He doesn't have anything that he can do, at all against this thing. And then, of all people, to suddenly show up and make an announcement of himself. It's not Saitama, but it's King. King shows up out of nowhere with a megaphone, and then the whole time his heart is beating like crazy, and it's really freaking loud. And he's basically just saying, oh yeah, that guy, that Blast guy? I think that's what the guy's name is. Apparently he's the top hero of the Hero Association. I believe that's what his name is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I don't really remember off the top of my head right now, even though I just finished watching the episode. He's basically saying hey, there's that guy that you have a grudge of. He's holding a grudge. But basically, there's a few pros that are known for being that are known that could actually be able to take down the centipede. That's Tatsumaki, Terrible Tornado, that little girl. King, because apparently, people think that he's the strongest human alive, even though he's not. Metal Knight, because he has a huge arsenal that's able to compete with anything, as long as Metal Knight knows as long as he can create a drone or a robot that could be able to do it. And then Blast was the last hero known that actually almost killed the damn thing. And the whole time, King is just talking shit. He's trying to provoke him, distract him from Bang, Bomb, and Genos, because they can't do anything about it. Saitama comes out of nowhere, shows up, and then of course defeats it with one punch. But the build up for the punch, the attack, it looked really cool. If out of all the punches, the one punches that Saitama has ever done for any of the monsters at all, this is definitely one of the coolest. Especially when he hits the damn thing, it just starts slowly disintegrating gradually as it's trying to go from its head all the way to to its back part, its tail or whatever you want to call it, to the final end part of the centipede, and it's just gone. The whole thing is just gone, and then Saitama makes a remark saying I was still stressed and pissed off about losing at the video game earlier that you were beating me at, so I guess I was able to blow off some steam. I thought that was really funny, because I was like, oh, he's still really pissed off about that. That's cool. Genos, after he loses, and he actually also lost one of his legs. He also is starting to think to himself he's lacking something, because Genos is always lacking in something, and that's why he keeps getting all these upgrades, being able to take off his arms and then reattach them back, the blades that come out from his arms, these big ass cannons that come out of his hand and his arms and shit. That's awesome, but he's always lacking something. And even the bird monster guy that took Genos, basically what Genos is lacking is power, and Saitama also tells him just straight up he's just lacking power, or it's probably that. Of course, it's the most obvious thing, and then of course there's a joke with King that I actually thought was really funny. And then the episode after the opening, they actually didn't do the opening at the beginning of the episode. They actually saved it for the ending of the episode. And I think they're going to start to be doing that from now on. Or maybe because it was this episode, they're going to save it. They just wanted to do it as a one-off thing. I had no idea. I just thought I'd point that out. But after they did the opening at the end of the episode, basically it's just, the bird guy taking Garo to Orochi, the big bad boss monster guy at the Monster Association. So I thought that was, just the thing I had to point out, I guess. So this episode had a lot of really cool stuff in it. We got to really see what Silverfang Bang was really able to do. His brother, Bomb, was actually did some really cool stuff as well. The whole time he was dealing with other monsters that were supposed to go after Genos. And then the combination of the attack that those two did was really cool. And then everything that Genos did in the episode, pretty much whenever he's on screen fighting someone, it's always just so cool. And then of course the specific one punch attack that Saitama did in the episode for the centipede monster looked really cool. The build up for it looked really good, and so was the animation for the entire time. I think it's pretty obvious that the centipede, they used CG for it, but I think the CG for it this time was better than what it was the last time that we saw it, and I thought that was really good. So that's pretty much the entirety of the episode. Of course, we're probably going to see Genos talk to Orochi, the Demon King monster guy, and that's going to be interesting, hopefully. I hope we see Saitama do more fights, because that'd be really cool. That's pretty much it. I have nothing really else to add on top of the episode, other than there was a lot of really cool stuff, and I hope we see more cool stuff. So anyways, I'll see you guys next time in the next video. If you did enjoy for whatever reason, be sure to leave a like. If you're new, subscribe for more videos just like this. I'll see you guys next one. Have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.